I almost wore this exact outfit, so I'm really psyched that it wasn't her.
Gracias, buenas tardes. Pues muy contenta, I'm super excited, flattered to be here with you tonight and at one of the most important institutions in the country and sharing one of my passions, one of my, my pride, my joy, banda music. So thank you.
So tell us about Reventon. What do you do on the show?
Reventon is the coolest show ever. So please make sure to watch it every weekend on Mundos at 12 p.m. And Reventon is really just showcasing a little bit of what we see here, what we hear, these kids that are kind of sharing their stories growing up in LA. Mic check up there. Growing up in LA and just being brought up in a very Mexican household and how that changes you, how that molds you, and you learn and grow to love this music and to appreciate it and to be part of it because these guys are part of it, I'm a part of it, Will Dog's a part of it, you're a part of it. So that's what we really do on Reventon. We showcase some of the hottest artists in regional Mexican music, but as we also give new artists, new groups a space where they can also share their talent.
Was it a challenge to get a regional Mexican show? I mean, Mundos is a network that, when it began, was trying to figure out demographics and audience of that elusive Latino 18 to 25 demographic, and saw it as a bilingual demographic, half Vicente Fernandez and half Coldplay. Was it a challenge to get a whole show dedicated to banda music and norteño music?
I was lucky when I started at Mundos. The show was already on. It was just a block of music videos, and I think they were trying to figure out. They didn't know if there was an audience for it, like if that audience was really there. And I mean, we all kind of heard the stereotypes of banda, of just regional Mexican music. It was the sombreros, the boots, the cowboys, the donkeys, the horses, the hay. You think you would picture, all these ideas. So I came in in a transition stage where we were kind of realizing, oh my gosh, it's 70% of the population, youth, and for the most part, Mexican youth are the majority of the Latino community in this country. So let's take it back a little bit and really check out what they're listening to. Well, it turns out that 70% of our viewers are Mexican American. So why don't we have a show for them and showcasing and celebrating the music they like and the music that they enjoy. So I came in this weird time, and now the show is one of the number one rated shows in the network, soon to be on Telemundo as well. It's just a little plug right there, right quick. So it's just, it's a very cool time for us at Mundos, and especially for a show like Reventon that is just it's really a Mexican music show, and that we have a lot of fans, we have a lot of artists that like to come to the show because of its essence. It's just really celebrating and showcasing our history, our culture, and our music.
So now you are here and on the show as a Mexican immigrant from the Valle.
That's right.
You're an immigrant from the Valley to LA.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, just checking. Now you were born and raised in the Valley.
I was born and raised in the Valley. My parents came here in the 80s from Sinaloa and Durango. My parents are actually here, by the way. So I grew up in the Valley in, a very Mexican household, going to Sinaloa and Durango twice a year. And really, I remember my dad would play these sounds as a kid, and I would be intrigued by them. But you're growing up, and you're going to an American school, so you're kind of am I this or am I that? I really don't want to listen to this, but I really like this NSYNC band. What's going on with me? And I think my parents really taught me to appreciate my culture and love my music. My dad is one of the biggest banda fans. He knows so much about music, it's kind of crazy. So I kind of learned through him, through my parents, through my family, what it really was to be Sinaloense, what it really meant to be Mexican in LA. And I think a funny time for me was when I went away from home to college. I went to the University of Miami. And that really was just okay, you know what? I am in love with this music, and this music will forever be a part of me.
So much of banda in LA really is not about Mexican banda, but about Sinaloa.
Yes.
And so many musicians are from Sinaloa. So much of the music is the specific Sinaloense brand of banda. When banda does shout outs to regions, it is
Sinaloa!
90% of the time to Sinaloa. How important is that regional identity versus like a larger national one?
I think in Sinaloa, that's such a good question, because I mean, even when you go to Sinaloa, I know we have a few Sinaloenses in the crowd, and you know, they can also acknowledge that we're all Sinaloenses. We're very proud of our music. Like, we own it. It's our, you know, it's like, yeah, Sinaloa, because it's our music. It comes from our state. It's one of our biggest, you know, we're just so proud of it. And there's a lot of even regions in Sinaloa, like Mazatlan, where the banda is, I mean, some of the best musicians in banda, period, come from there, from like little towns. And if we look back at the history, like you were saying earlier, it has a lot to do with where you're from. I mean, these bandas like Recodo, Limon, they named their bands based on the little town they were from. And they, you know, to represent, you know, and proudly showcase the best of their town. So I think in Sinaloa, it's so important for Sinaloense music, for Sinaloense artists, and just for the legacy of banda music, of banda Sinaloense, to really appreciate and acknowledge that connection we have with Sinaloa, and to always just be proud of it.
I know we have more questions for the banda and for you, and then we're going to get someone else up here in a second. But maybe let's hear another tune. Yeah? Banda Viento de Oro.